for doing Disturb, Jax. And we are back with another podcast for Not Your Heroes. And as per usual, I have forgotten. You may have noticed, people may notice the new setup. That
I might have the same.
Oh crap! I screwed up.
We're having technical difficulties. This is the reason why we're running a bit late.
Yeah. Someone wouldn't bugger off.
Yeah. And loads of other things. All right.
But yeah, today's background game is called Blow Bunny.
I'm liking it. It's like a mix between Snake and Candy Crush.
It's just a nice little game. That has.
Wow. So we have had, last week we left off with, or last session we left off with our Superman conversation. Since then,
well, since then I've seen Fantastic Four. You suddenly went all weird then.
He's gone.
Hello, Jax? You still there? As Jack said, we're having technical issues today. I'm still here, Jax. You're the one who can't hear me.
And you can come back. I think we're having a sound issue.
Yeah, well, this is the poor choice of fucking hell. What's going on today? We're having all sorts of technical issues today. This is what happens when we switch everything over from YouTube to Twitch. I will... Yeah, you're going to hear the Discord call start again. Oh, yeah. Did that fix it? Jax?
It fix it. Yes.
Yeah, it's fixed it. Yeah. But yeah. So.
Technological nightmares.
Today has not been a good day for technology today.
So yes, as I was saying, we have seen another movie this week, which since our last session, which was the awesome Fantastic Four film.
It was absolutely amazing.
I will say I have more issues with this film than I did with Superman, which is not something I expected to say. I will say my first ever proper Marvel comic book was Fantastic Four. I have a very horrible story to do with an incredibly rare first run. But yes, I love Fantastic Four. So, I mean, I wait with these movies with bated breath. And this is easily, hands down, the best ever live-action Fantastic Four film we've ever had.
It is. Very easily.
Yeah, and it does harken back to those, and not just in the fact that it is a 70s vibe film and the way it looks, the way it's set, and the era of the universe that they're in. There is something that does harken back to those original comic books, the way they all interact with each other, a little bit of arrogance, but loving arrogance in a way from Reed Richards.
I also love that the story was they got Sue was actually a character in this movie instead of like she was in. As much as I love the originals, Sue was in the originals not a.
Oh, she wasn't well used at all. I mean, Jessica Alba was twice used for the "Oh, she's naked" gag.
Yeah.
And then in the 2016 one, Fan Stick, there was just nothing there really. There was no interest in that character. It was a shame. Then that was a problem with the whole film. There was so much unfinished there.
Yeah.
I mean, what is bad is that when Sue Storm is better represented in the very original Fantastic Four film from the late 70s, early 80s, than what you've got in those three modern films. But yeah, this one was good. They did her well. They did. I won't get into too many spoilers right early on.
No,
But,
but I actually
whole process that
enjoyed
they
the
went through.
whole building up of the hero of the characters as well.
Yeah. One thing I will say that I did notice, and I said this before I found out what it was to you, is that the beginning part of the film, with all those montages in, it felt like it was missing a substantial element in there. There was like you didn't get the first big battle that the first battle you'd expect in the first scene, first act of a film. It turns out it was. In the trailers, we had John Malkovich as the Red Ghost, and there was meant to be a whole scene of them fighting the Red Ghost and his intelligent apes to stop them from going into space. Not quite the story we was originally told it was, but we did get to see a bit of it. You saw Reed Richards hitting one of the hyper smart orangutans off the side of the Excelsior. Yeah, that should have been a whole scene of them fighting, which would have been epic. But for time and many other reasons, I had to cut it. So yeah, I mean, that pacing wise, you could tell bits were removed for timing, for pacing wise, I think, in my opinion.
Oh,
Other than that, I mean,
it's one of them
you can't
games.
complain.
It's one of
Yeah.
those films. It's like, you know, it's one of those films. Like it's pacing. I will admit, I will admit, as much as I love the film, I do have some issues myself.
Yeah.
Primarily with, I think, the first act, the whole first act part of it, takes a little too long, in my honest opinion.
Yeah, it's not broken up with something exciting, which would have been the Red Ghost fight, it seems. And that small clip we actually get of, like, if they had replaced it with them fighting the Mole Man and his subterranean monster from the first issue, that would have been enough, I think. And they didn't. Once again, that was reduced down to just a few clips, which is something we know was actually filmed more of because that was used in an advert for, I think it was for Baskin Robbins or a car company. But yeah, a fuller version of that scene was used for an advert, so that we know there is more. The other big thing, which is after my second watching of the film, incredibly noticeable,
What?
and then there were things. In the original promo shots, they show Johnny Storm on a beach, and his whole story arc. I mean, like they haven't made him an idiot, which is fantastic. Which was something they kind of did. Like, why would you take just this young teenager into space?
Yeah.
In two films, not really. Like, there's no reason for him to be there because he's actually a smart guy, and this is something they never really touched on in those films. And in this one, they did. He's the linguist, which makes sense. But if you actually watch his story, his first part of his story is, I really want to get back into space, which we don't get to see a payoff for that, really, only him getting a spacesuit, because before he goes into space, his big new arc is, I want to learn this language, which he learns. But there is a bit of a cut, and you can see it, and we know now that there is a bit missing, is when he touches the Silver Surfer's board later on, and he hears the whispering again. That was meant to lead into a transfer where he sees Zenlar being destroyed through her eyes, and what she had to do to become Galactus' herald, which then would lead on to the bit where she actually helps out later on because they have an understanding. So yeah, it's those things I think were necessary for the film, and would have made it a hell of a lot better. Well, not a hell of a lot better, but just better. It's a shame we lost them, and we won't be getting them as well. It has been announced that all the cutting room floor scenes were never fully finished in render, so we won't even be getting them on as extra scenes in DVDs or later releases, sadly. It does mean we've lost the whole Watcher scene, because apparently the fight with the Red Ghost and the apes at the beginning would have been over. Well, one of the versions that got said was the scene was they would be fighting on the moon, the blue side of the moon, in which it would be observed by the Watcher, which would have been fantastic. because in the comic books originally that's where the Watcher resided, on the blue side of the moon. But then the other side was when, if the Earth-based version would have the same thing, you'd see in the stars the Watcher watching over. So yeah, we didn't get that, sadly.
No, we did not, sadly. But
what we did get, though, like I say, I mean, best Fantastic Four film we've had.
oh yeah, it is the closest we've had to the comics. Like, legitimately the closest one we've had to the comics. Like, seriously, it is one of those. It's like the costumes fell straight out of the comics. The whole film felt like it was straight out of the comics, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I would love. I mean, another thing to do with all these cuts as well is that we know that they did screen accurate Jack Kirby costumes, because they took pictures with them on for promo stuff, and would have been used in all the early scenes where they were before in that sort of cutscene section. And we only really get to see it once, when they're fighting the Mole Man's monster. That small scene with where they've got the black collar and cuffs, is the Jack Kirby original Fantastic Four costumes. Nearly all of it was cut.
I do like that the Earth is called the name for the Earth specifically is that reference to Jack Kirby's, like Jack Kirby's original one of his original comics. It is genuinely just one of those things that's like,
yes, there was a lot of love that went into this.
Oh yeah.
And the thing is that it is getting a lot of hit. It's not made the most amount of money in the world. It's not the biggest Marvel thing. It's not the biggest comic thing at the moment.
No.
The big problem is that Superman did come out of the gates incredibly hard and incredibly fast. I mean, to the point where the negative comments from certain groups have been completely overshadowed.
Oh yeah.
By just bringing positivity from normal people, not just comic book geeks.
I think the other thing is with the whole Superman debate as well is them going, "Oh, I didn't make this much. We got to adjust the inflation for the Snyder one," and I'm like, "You got to adjust the Snyder one, what it would make today for inflation?" And I'm just sat there going, "So what you started going?"
My argument would be you'd have to. But my argument then is if we have to do that, we then also put in an addition for the fact that nearly 60% less ticket sales now compared to then ever since COVID. So they would have made more money just by the natural fact that 60% more people are going to the cinema.
Yep.
Here's the big indicator for me, at least. All 3 times that I have gone to see Superman, 4 times I've gone to see Superman now, there's been limited seats in the showing that I've wanted to go to. And I'm not particularly going at the most hectic time of the day.
And you're going like a robot, by the way.
So that's got to say something.
Oh,
I'm very sorry. Am I better now?
No, you're just going like a robot for some reason. Don't know what's happened to Jack. Jack, we're having technical issues today, which is why we'll probably only do it to our usual time, 10 o'clock.
Fixed.
I know it's fixed itself now. But yeah, it's Fantastic Four. Like, no spoilers or anything. I think you know exactly what I'm about to say is my favourite thing about this movie, and you probably know full well what I'm about to say. Jax, can you guess what I'm about to say before I say it? No, can you guess what I'm going to say before I say
what? No.
Galactus was Galactus.
Galactus.
Because it was finally, it was finally fucking menacing and actually.
Yes. Menacing and overly theatrical in that weird way that kind of Galactus is. I love the fact that they made a donation between a difference between him and his ship, which is sometimes even in the comics is kind of forgotten. And that whole scene where he comes to Earth and he picks up the tree as if it's like he's a farmer and he's the first time he's picked up the soil. He just smells it. I thought that was awesome. I would. The plan at the end seemed incredibly rushed, but I kind of liked it. One thing that gets me, it kind of gets fixed in the story anyway. The fact that they mention that we've given Johnny extra oxygen tanks in his suit so he can actually use his powers in space. And they do use it later on in space where there is no oxygen on his ship.
Yeah.
In the original comic books, when they fight Galactus, they actually send Johnny into space to get the ultimate nullifier. And I'm wondering if that thing about the costume was a weird layover from that original story where he would have gone into space, maybe gone to Zenlar to find the original, the ultimate nullifier. And that would be the thing that they used to fight him.
See, the one thing I will say about the plot, like the finale plot and everything at the end of the film of it,
yeah.
If I'm honest, is not gonna lie, it does kind of feel a little bit like you said, the plan feels rushed, but like everything from watching that trailer where the trailer's going, we will defend you, we will protect you and all this. And all I was in my head from watching the trailers and going, they're going to die. They're going to lose. Huh. It's like... And I'm like, I actually wanted that to be that, because that's been our theory for ages. Our theory for ages has been that they're going to lose. That's been what we've been thinking. Yeah, that's what we predicted all these times. That they're going to lose. That's what makes them come to the, to 616. And then they don't lose, and I kind of went, oh.
Yeah, I mean, it does feel like there was last-minute changes there, because, like you say, even the main story itself is heading towards it being a failure, and that their last-ditch attempt getting themselves off the planet, Superman styly, and not being able to save their people, their Earth. And kind of one of the reasons why they're probably more inclined to help another reality from the same thing happening. Especially with the Thunderbolts ending, we knew their ship was in play there. We get the bait and switch that we get at the end.
Yeah. And then we get the end credit scene. First one, which was pretty cool. The second one was kind of funny, I'm not going to lie. Just the cartoon, the start of the cartoon.
Yes, I very much enjoyed that. Being a fan of the original cartoon myself as a kid, seeing the Fantastic Four we've just watched further adventures in a little way, and also one of the only place you're going to see John Malkovich's version of Red Ghost is in that animated scene. But yeah. I suppose we could hit spoilers now, so people could turn off if necessary.
Yeah, so I will say now, if you don't want spoilers for this movie and you are watching a stream, I don't know if anyone is watching the stream, to be honest. If you are, I will tell you now, I'd quit. Just leave the stream. You don't want to hear the spoilers because we are going to spoil parts of the film at this point onwards.
Yeah, I mean, when people find out that Carol Danvers is actually Galactus in this universe, it's going to be hilarious.
I know, right? And that Pedro Pascal is really just Doctor Doom.
Yeah. Robert Downey Jr. is the master. The maker. It's really, really good. So much stuff. The whole Franklin Richards of it all, for me, was quite fun. I know it's not whether that she's pregnant, but yeah.
Well, the last trailer basically announced the Franklin Richards one, but then without saying it was Franklin. But also, I love the minute he knew that she was, the child and the everything.
His attitude changes.
Yeah, the minute that he sees the child, you are my way to freedom. It's straight up in that sense of Galactus is finally able to get free. He's like, I can free myself from my hunger finally. And it's like, it makes perfect sense for his character because the thing is, Galactus doesn't want to do the shit he does. He just, he kind of just has to. He doesn't get a choice in the matter, and it's kind of...
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm sure many people listening to this have listened to many that don't know comic books as much, have watched some of the videos. Galactus is what's known as a remnant from a previous universe, or incarnation of the universe. He was just a normal man once, but because he's an anomaly here, he's not meant to have survived the Big Bang. Everything around him, he doesn't personally eat planets like we eat cakes. His ship actually destroys the planet itself and reconstitutes it into an energy form he can absorb. Which was, once again, quite a nice thing, because sometimes this gets forgotten in the comics, and they actually made a point of differentiating him from his ship, and the fact that if you separate him from his ship, although he's not useless and unable to travel the universe, he's going to be incredibly slow.
Yeah, it was such a good way of doing the whole.
My favourite thing, though, for me about this film and the Franklin Richards reveal was being in the cinema the first time and having someone sit next to me that was a random stranger who obviously doesn't know anything about Fantastic Four, and they were half annoyed and confused that they were doing a whole baby scene. It's like, why do you want to? This is just Incredibles. This is going to be Jack. I was like, that's what I just wanted to say, oh, sweet summer child.
Jack is Franklin Richards. that's the whole thing. The Incredibles are fantastic. Are the Fantastic Four just Disneyfied? They're the Disney, they're like the Pixar and Disney version of them.
Very much true. And I mean, this does feel more like, weirdly enough, compared to the other films, feels more like a Incredibles movie than the previous Fantastic Four ones. The funny thing is that they literally, even on a power scale, Jack gets destroyed in a second from Franklin Richards. But it is just so funny that was the reference that they were going for and thinking it was a rip-off. And I was very man, they're going to show this kid's incredibly powerful by the end of this film, and I don't know how. To be honest, I was actually thinking, I was at my prediction when he was born, and they had the whole scene of showing her with, saying something was happening with the kid, at least. I was then like, this is how they leave this universe. It's going to get destroyed. Franklin's the one that removes them. That makes sense now, right?
Yeah.
But that's not how we go.
No.
We had what other sort of little weirds? I mean, there are loads of kind of funny spoilers in it, I guess.
Oh yeah, there's. What was it? We get Franklin's reveal as, Galactus wants Franklin because it's the only way to get himself free from his hunger, basically. The child can take the power cosmic instead.
Well, he recognises that the child already has the power cosmic and thus can take as much as necessary. He can take all of it from Galactus, take the hunger from Galactus. But this is going to be the interesting one from character perspective is, with the multiverse the way it is, will we get what a lot of people want, which is going to be the older Franklin Richards in the middle of a fight that's beyond anything that anyone can cope with, and him just go, me, my Galactus, and then have a big fucking brain-controlled base god turn up and finish the battle. I think that's what most of us want, right?
Not really.
Really? You don't want to see Franklin just rock up with Iron Giant style with Galactus?
No. To be fair, We know that the next movie, like, have you seen? Oh, can we talk about something else? Like, this is not related to that movie, but it is Marvel related. Right now.
Oh, I think I know what we're going to talk about, and yes, we should.
We should. We have been getting pictures of the set of a certain film, and the costume. The minute I saw that costume, I think I sent the picture to you and went, "This is my childhood."
Yes.
It's like I saw that costume and went, "That is the costume from the fucking TV series I grew up with. That is the proper Spider-Man costume." Finally.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've been listening and talking to some people about the design of it, and obviously my own notices. They have. I reckon this was once again theory time. I reckon this was the original suit concept that they had for the end of the Spider-Man, the Spider-Man Far From Home film, because what we got obviously was very comic accurate, lovely and blue, but we know there was a bit of a change towards the end with the suit that he was going to be battling with at the end of the film, at least being slightly different from. We got his normal suit that we carried on with, but there was a part where they were going to give him a new one, in which had inspirations in it from Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's suits. He would incorporate in, which we didn't get. He just had his normal suit, and then at the end he got that really lovely cartoon comic blue and red. But this one now has that raised webbing from Tobey Maguire. It has that kind of narrower, it looks like it's going to have the narrower mask shape that Andrew Garfield's had, as well as the exposed web shooters. So yeah, it's quite interesting to see that this is kind of like, and with the comic books, it's a bit of an amalgamation of all those great things.
But also it being the bright blue that it is and the bright red that it is straight up the Spider-Man 96 cartoon. It's the cartoon version of him as well. It is straight up those colours, the old school, like proper bright blue and bright red.
So it is a particular shade of blue. I can't remember what it is. I think it's Blues 27 or something like that. It is well known within the comic book industry, and in particular, this year you've actually seen it a lot because that colour blue is the same colour blue as Superman's blue on his costume in the Corn Sweat films.
But yeah.
So yeah,
it just makes me happy to see, the costume looking like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like it did when I was a kid. Like seeing that on the screen is oh my god, that is.
I'm with you, and I mean, weird enough, coming back to the cartoon stuff with the Spider-Man, when we both said it, and weird enough, I was talking to my friend today about something similar again. How the Superman film had so much, not just the comic books, but had the feelings of the animations. Yeah. But whereas, obviously, we watched the Superman animated series that came out in the 90s, in sort of the same
and the Justice League animated series as well.
But like I say, you went straight to that as when we was talking about that animated feel that like that series. But both me and Eddie, we by complete random chance, we both had the same Max Fleischer Superman collection VHS tape. It's one of the things we became friends about, and both of us felt that actually it harkened back to that animated series. And it's just quite interesting that different generations do take the same feeling but for a completely different show and style of show. That does fascinate me, actually, in a way. And I think it is because it is such a hopeful, nice thing, kind of like Fantastic Four, and the way that they integrated that cartoon into it as well, because it did have the whole show, the cartoony feel, a hopeful feel, a Saturday morning, we're gonna, this is gonna be great kind of a feel. I do hope this is a thing we're going to run through now with superhero films, because don't get me wrong, I like dark comics, Watchmen, Case of Violence, Eaters. I do like a good gory comic, and things like Batman, Punisher, Spawn. These are great places to have those kind of stories. But one of the things about Batman in particular compared to the other two is you need light in those stories as well.
Yeah, it's like,
because he isn't just
it's like
a killer vigilante.
It's like the reason I say that I've said this multiple times. We've said this multiple times. This is season 2 of the podcast. We've said this multiple times on the first season of this podcast, I believe. The reason I think the Snyderverse version of the DC universe failed so badly, like, as much as Snyder Bros try and say, oh, it was so much better than the new one, and I'm like, the new one's had one movie, and the one movie is in, I think, 5 weeks.
Right.
5 weeks matched your Man of Steel. Like, globally. In 5 weeks, that it achieved what Man of Steel took 6 months to do.
And also, this film came out, and
at the height of superhero fatigue.
Yeah, but no one is screaming for a better director's cut.
No.
You know, no one watched this and went, I want a better movie, which is exactly what happened to every one of those Snyder films. People come out and went, yeah, but the Ayer cut or the Snyder cut or this cut is going to be better.
Yeah, that's therein lies the problem with the Snyder cut.
This should be a prime version, and the other versions give you extra. It shouldn't be the bits that are missing make the film, because then whoever edited the film messed up. Whoever directed the film messed up. But even with the bits in the Superman film that we've mentioned before, that I did think was a bit slow or could have been done a bit better. Yeah. At no point do I think a full re-edit is going to fix that.
No.
No.
Like, we talked about this last week with the Superman film. I think one of my scenes, the scene that I think that I told you is the first scene that I went, that's a fucking Superman movie, was straight up the fight with the kaiju at the start of the film. You know, the kaiju scene at the start of the film. Like, and the fact that in the middle of that fight, while the Justice Gang that shows up midway through it to help are trying to get all the glory to defeat this big kaiju, all he's doing is saving people. Like, he's just saving. He's prioritizing people over this thing, and it's like the fact that he first fires fire at him, and he first fires
at the building, and he sort of looks around at the people, and he's like, "Oh, are you okay? Sorry, I'm really sorry."
Yeah, and then immediately turns around and changes his tactic.
For me, there is a bit in the film, and it is a blink and you miss it bit, and it is during that kaiju fight, which is, for me, like, so much of the other directors' films were style over substance. There was so much going on that wasn't necessary and actually convoluted the scene. In this bit, though, it was a subtle thing that wasn't needed, but for me, was like saving the girl, saving the squirrel. But for me, this was a bit that didn't need to be there, but showed who their Superman was. In the middle of the fight, just before he saves the girl, he flies out and turns back and looks down during the fight to scout what's happening on the floor. While everyone's fighting the face, he comes back and looks down, then does the woman, does the squirrel, does the girl, does the squirrel. Because he's just scouted the area. What's going on up there with the fight is not his concern right now. What's going on down with the people is. And like I say, blink is done in like less than a second. The way that they've pulled it is a blink of the miss moment, but it just shows what is his mindset at that moment in time. Let Guy Gardner try and rip the thing's face off. Let Hawkgirl try and cut his eyes out.
Yeah.
I need to save that person, that person, that person.
That's the thing. It's saving.
And then try and save the big thing.
Yeah, and it's like he even gets sad when they kill the big thing. It's like, and the reason why this movie was like, someone trying to compare old Reed Richards to new Reed Richards, going, old Reed Richards can stretch like nothing. It's nothing. New Reed Richards screams in pain, and I'm like, because that's actually when you pay attention to Fantastic Four, even Reed describes like his early years of having his powers as quite painful, because It's his body having to adjust to the fact that suddenly he's made of elastic.
Yeah. Also, in that particular, I mean, that is one of my big downfalls of Fantastic Four. I will say, is the incredibly limited use of their powers, except for in one really cool place. I mean, Johnny Storm, you always have to show his fire powers, and they, I've got to say, weren't majorly spectacular in this. But I mean, don't get me wrong, the graphics of it were very good. The effects of it very good. They just didn't show off his skill set at all compared to other films. But Sue Storm taking down Galactus because she is pissed.
Oh yeah, it was
great. From any one of the comics where she has gone, no, fuck it, you touch my kids, I'll rip you to pieces and I'll put you in the center of the earth. You will be invisible, in pain, begging for help, and no one will see you while you gasp your last. She was going, and awesome, absolutely awesome. But none of the others showed their powers off, and I was so confused by that. But the thing with Reed is that, as well, is that there is a difference. They kind of have shown this before. There's kind of a difference between him knowing what to stretch and when and doing it willingly, and someone forcing it.
Yeah.
Because there are fights where he gets pulled around, and they use his elasticity as a weapon against him. He's trying to do one thing, they pull him in another, and that hurts. I mean, it's the same way. You can pick up your wheelie bin, move your wheelie bin around all the time, but if you accidentally jerk it, and you're not expecting what you're about to do, or it topples in the wrong way, that light wheelie bin dislocates your arm.
Yeah,
it hurts.
It kind of hurts. It's the thing of.
So that, I mean, like I say, so yeah, I really kind of was annoyed about their lack of use of powers. Ben Grimm was you know what? I didn't expect weird enough, I didn't expect to see lots of fighting action from Ben Grimm in this film. I couldn't really see what they were going to do other than have him knock down buildings, which is what he kind of did. But on the flip side of that, unlike any of even the Michael Chiklis ones, which I think tried to do it really well, this one showed the guy's humanity so damn well. Like just messing around with the kids at the
I don't mean
the synagogue orphanage or the school, whatever it was, and he's just like, pick up the car. I can pick up the car.
Also him and what's the character's name? I forgot her name. Rachel, is it?
Oh no, I know you mean the played by gorgeous red actress that's in everything. Can't remember her name right now. She was in Blade. She was the blind woman in Blade. If you remember that back in the day.
I don't remember. I didn't remember her from Blade.
Yeah. I think it's Blade 2 where she plays the blind woman with the kid who is helping him out, and then she gets killed. But yeah. Check it out, shout out there. Yeah. But she was great. And there was a nice scene in it. I mean, we didn't get his big love interest, which is fine, Alicia. Like there was something going on there, and there was a nice bit where everything's like everyone knows the world is going to be coming to an end at the moment. Like they've been warned about Galactus, and he walks in, and she's like, "Are you here for spiritual guidance?" He's like, "Nope, just here to see you." I thought that was like a nice little scene.
Oh yeah, it's a nice way of showing Ben Grimm being like somewhat human. You know what I mean?
And the cooking scene with Herbie was funny. You know, it's like when he's like, "This is really good. I'm just going to put some more garlic in it, not because it doesn't taste nice. I just want to give it a bit more zing." I just thought that was a lovely little scene in the way he's just like crushing the garlic in his rough hand.
Yeah,
and that noise.
I also love the power bit of how does the thing grow a beard, shave a beard? Fucking power saw. He's kind of like a saw. To do it.
Yeah, it's that's quite an interesting one because that's not something that usually comes up often. I don't know if they've had an explanation in the comics. Honestly, I can't remember if they ever have. Just don't normally think it comes up. I know he did have weird growth spurts at one point. And then there was a female version, which was weird.
We don't mention the female version.
Yeah,
of
it
the
was
thing.
strange.
We don't mention that version of the thing. Why?
Is it?
Because
Yeah, I can't remember the full story behind it. This was I had these comics. But yeah, I mean, this was the 80s, 90s where things had to go extreme, and Ben Grimm all of a sudden had these big rock spikes coming out of his head and back and arms. So he was kind of more like a rock version of the Abomination. And then this unitard wearing motherfucker turns up. Yeah.
it's just silly. It's, to be fair, that period was also when we got. Wasn't that period also where? To be fair, wasn't that also the period where Supergirl was a clone of Superman made for Superman, or something in those era, or was that the early '60s?
That's a little bit earlier than that. No, that in this era, around about that time, I believe Supergirl was now a protoplasm being of some kind that sort of half phased into a version. Yeah, there was a weird version of her that stayed around for a little bit while Supergirl was out of action. DC Comics strange at the best of times, and sometimes they would explain their characters kind of like they've gone off to their own planet to go fight a war, and sometimes it would be like the Simpsons episodes like Scruffy's dead, he died on the way back to his planet, you're never going to see him again. Sometimes I was like, we don't know what to do with this character anymore because we're not allowed to use super families, because we're only allowed to Superman. What do we do with this character?
They're dead.
Power Girl, he's a plasma alien. That's exactly what they did. They put her in a white unitard, called her Power Girl, and said she was some sort of weird clone plasma being.
And
that stayed like that for like 10 years.
And then eventually she became an actual own character.
Again, yeah, she did finally become her own character again. Which is quite nice. I mean, to be fair, she was back to being a full-blown character long before shows like Supergirl started up on the Arrowverse. And
oh yeah, we know she was her own character before that. We had Kara Zor-El. Kara Zor-El is like, as even Smallville had Kara as his cousin from another planet.
Oh, Kara had been. I mean, that kind of aspect of it had been around like since the early days. So there was always that. It was just the origins, and it once again the DC of it all, because they do massive resets periodically. The Supergirl, any hero that you see now is usually not so much drastically different from one you would have got 10 years ago, but there's a lot of lore difference. And what they do is they keep some things. For instance, with Batman, the Killing Joke is hard canon. Usually with every version of Batman you're going to find that is a mainline story Batman, the Killing Joke happens at some point within their history. Death in the Family happens at some point within their history. Then things like if they're trained by Ra's al Ghul, or if they're trained by another, that comes down to whatever version of reality you're in at that point in time. And so that's what you've got with Supergirl. I mean, during the period where the Superman films were popular because of Christopher Reeves, who made the I can't remember the bloody name now.
It was Helen Slater.
They made the Supergirl film. It was Helen Slater, yeah. The Supergirl film. But that actual version of Supergirl hadn't been in the comics for a little bit now. They kind of had to bring that version back. So yeah, it's very interesting how these things work. There's a lot of cylindrical nature of it all.
Oh yeah.
A lot of arcing back. I mean, the time we're seeing Superman now in Scream does kind of match up a little bit more to what we're getting in the comic books. But for a long time, he was becoming a lot more of a complicated character in the sense of emotions and stuff, because you would have these long interludes of, oh, I should do it like this and do it like that. And, it's not really the Superman we know from Golden Age. and we were really getting rid of that New 52 hyper violent version. The rebirth version started to change it a bit, but that kind of was what inspired the Snyderverse stuff, as well as his own predilections to extra violence. So yeah, each time is different. I mean, there's a great Batman comic that really does this kind of a bit of more sense than I'm making it, in which starts off as an Elsewhere story. Batman is looking for a killer, and he finds this guy who is the killer. But it turns out that he would be this reality's version of the Joker if it wasn't for the fact that a load of events changed in the early parts of his life. And every time he dreams, he sees the Joker's face. And he's like, that's who I'm meant to be, but I don't know who that is. Until he does something or other and gets himself into the multiverse, and Batman chases him. And in this version of the story, he is the actual origin of every single Joker. He puts himself into the multiverse, and it actually creates every single one. But as the story goes on, every reality that this guy jumps into,
I know which story you're on about, because this is the story that I was referencing like a couple of episodes, like season 1, about episode, I think 30, episode 28, when I was about the story where you have Batman chasing the Joker, and one of the actual comics, like part one of them, is him jumping into the Arkham universe from the Arkham games, and that Batman turning round and going, just get rid of him, because he brought him back, and I thought I'd finally been rid of him after all these years, and he resurrected him.
Well, yeah. So yes. So this is what I was going to get to, and weird enough, I was going to get to this point, is that when one of the first places he jumps to, and it's a very short jump, this first one, is the Arkham Asylum one, and it is just after Batman, after the death of the Joker, and Batman from that says, I saw him die. I had his corpse in my hands. He was dead. Everything went wrong from that point for me. But you have to get rid of your guy, because he's bringing my guy back, and now he's even worse. Without him, basically Gotham went apeshit because no one was frightened of a bigger villain anymore. So yeah, you lose that point. So that gets to the point where he's basically telling him, I killed my guy. It didn't go as well as I thought it would. Well, my guy died. It didn't go as well as I thought it did. You might have to do the same thing to your dude. But I wouldn't recommend it. But yeah, throughout this, he then jumps to other variations. So we actually get Adam West's Batman. We get Michael Keaton's Batman. We get the New 52 Batman. We get mainline Batman. And it does go through all these great ones. And throughout a lot of it, one of my funny bits in this, actually, by the way, is when he meets Adam West's Batman. He's like, because he's dressed up more like the Rebirth one is you need a utility belt. There is no Batman without a utility belt. So you need a utility belt. Have mine. And so actually after this, he goes through collecting bits of Batman costumes. His costume's fucked. Bits of different multiversal Batman costumes. And yeah, I'll get back to my original point because I got excited. He goes through all the different eras and regenerations of Batman. And it kind of gives you an explanation of why each one is different, what era they're from. And it really does sort of show DC's timeline of that character and kind of how each universe without that character has changed. Kind of got the same thing with Superman in Doomsday Clock, with all the manipulation from Doc Manhattan. And once again, get back to my original point, is that each iteration we get in film is going to be more attuned to what is popular in the comic books, but it's always going to be off by about 5 years. That's why we got all that heavy darkness a couple of years ago, because we were coming to the end of a really dark era when we had death metal and
we had Batman Metal, which was the whole. We had the metal front one as well, where Barbatos appeared and brought
Yeah,
one of the
that
scariest
much more,
Batman
yeah.
villains in fucking Batman history, in my opinion. Still,
Oh yeah, I mean, once again, you're right there. I mean, everyone gives the Batman that laughs the credit there for being hyper scary. No, but Barbatos, actually, when you think about it, is one of the more scarier Batmans you're ever going to meet.
but I will say
Um,
one thing about Barbatos is that from reading the little bits of that, it just feels like kind of like DC wanted to do their own spider totem thing, a little bit, if you get what I mean, with Batman.
I do know what you mean, and I actually, because I have read it, I've read both. Not what they've actually done. To be fair, is weird enough Spider-Man related in a weird way, although they did it before.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh.
and DC have always well known for their multiverses. They actually did. I mean, the whole of Dark Knight's Metal is a reflection of the multiverse. So every multiverse up until that point we've seen has actually been on the end where they had a future. You know, it might have been the Nazi universe, but it still had somewhere to go.
There was always a way that universe would get better, or something would, or it would continue living. Whereas these universes were straight up the ones that were meant to die.
These were always meant to burn, either by their heroes going bad, their villains taking over, just by the nature of an explosion for no reason. These were always the ones destined to end before their time, and they all wanted more time. When they found out that there was not only because they knew of the anti-multiverse, they had their own anti-monitor,
Yep.
and everything, and then all of a sudden they were like, wait a minute, there's two sides to this coin. We always thought that reality was the other side of the coin, but no, we're dark, they're light. You know, these are the negatives. And it is a really good set of stories.
Batman Who Laughs though is just a villain that's like, okay, what the hell happened? What the hell did you do?
Yeah, but it's one of those great ones because as the story does progress in that, and our Bruce has to find a way of stopping it. He starts to realise and both the Joker says to him at the beginning of this, and when he first meets the Joker at last says this, is that you need to be more like the Joker to fight him. Being Batman isn't going to work, and that's why he ultimately infects himself and becomes the Batman that laughs to fight him with all of it, and he starts to break down. And it is awesome to see it because as our Bruce starts to shift, and we've seen him do it, we start to realise, shit, what he's doing is bad. Don't get me wrong. He is only trying to save his universe. It might not be a nasty universe. It's his universe. Now Batman's doing the same, but he's using exactly the same tactics now. And it is a dark moment. And then when they get to the anvil, the world forge and all that sort of shit, it is very good. And that's the other thing about this is that we're still coming off of a weird thing with Flashpoint and with Rebirth, in which characters that we know of that we haven't seen in a while, we're like, oh, they just haven't got a comic book, no one's making them anymore, or writing those comic books, but they're out there. And then all of a sudden, in this case, it's Carter Hull. Batman meets him, and he's like, I know you. And Carter's like, yeah, we've known each other a very long time, Bruce. Like, I'm Hawkman. And then slowly it comes back to go, I know of a Hawkman. Wait a minute, I've known you a long time. And this starts with things are not, and this is one of those moments like when Wally meets Barry, or Barry meets Wally again in the time stream, and when Psycho Pirate reappears, people start to go, wait a minute, you've not seen you for 5 years. Then you think, wait a minute, they haven't actually been in a comic for 5. Oh shit. These characters haven't been in comics for a reason, and none of us have noticed until now. And we're just finding out because they're finding it. Very well done. And Batman at Last did a moment like that in that period with Carter Hull, which was very good. And the other thing was, as well, if you're a DC fan, you know of the metal system. And in numbers, and nth metal is the one that most of our heroes use now. It is the most powerful version of metallurgy you can use. So Hulk girls, all the Hulk weapons are nth metal. Tons, I think Steel and Cyborg are both made out of nth metal at this point. That's when you find out. No, there's a reason they've all had these weird names like nth metal, seventh metal, because they're numbered. And 10th metal is what Dark Knight Metals is all about. It's alive and it's full of knowledge and it is ready to destroy you.
It's just one of them comics. It's just DC has some good comics, but it's in, but in all like with it, it's just like the Batman stuff is just cool. I've like watched the comic explained to do the whole like thing from it, because I don't have the DC version of the Marvel one. I have the Marvel Unlimited, Marvel fan, Marvel girl. That's what I'm always going to be. But as I'll always say, as I'll always say with it is, like, for going back to the Fantastic Four we were actually initially discussing, the film was just good. Like, I enjoyed it, but I will say, as I think my problem with it was the pacing was a little slow to begin with.
Yeah, and like I said, there is an excuse for that now. We know what that is.
Yeah.
I will say that I know you. I mean, we've had this, and I've said this to you before, but I'll say it to everyone because it's a good idea. If you do have, if you're normally only a Marvel person or a DC person, definitely try out those apps. Just for a month.
It was worth it.
Up on some great stories.
I mean, I sat there and read through the whole. Like, it has like curated collections as well in the Marvel one, like of this is every story you need to read to know what's going on in this particular arc. For example, Krakoa, like the Rise of X, Reign of X and Fall of X stuff. Like, it has each of them set out with all the books you need to read for each section of it as well. Like, like in order. It tells you which one to go to next as well.
Yeah.
So it's really well done.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I spent ages reading through the Rise of X stuff, and then, the Reign of X and all the different, like, stuff for that era, like Krakoa. And I'm like, I genuinely enjoyed this. I was actually happy for once. X-Men were finally getting... But, like, in true comic fashion, it can't last because, to be fair, it's not boring at that point. But, it would be boring if that's the status quo stayed forever. And therein lies the problem with it.
100%.
Like, we know that Krakoa can't last, but it's nice to see the X-Men finally on top for once.
Yeah, I mean, I love that. I did love that. I had that for quite a while. When I got rid of both of them in the end, because I just don't have the time to read as much as I was at the time. But I will say, especially like once again, like for you and for anyone listening, if you are only a Marvel person, definitely get that for a month. Use that free 2 weeks that you can get for signing up, and there are a couple of really great standalone stories that you can read that involve the main heroes and doesn't involve you needing to read 1,000 books. For example, Identity Crisis by Brad Meltzer is a standalone story. It is a suspense story, detective story for want of it, and it involves all the main DC heroes, and it is pure gold. I've read that book. If I've read it once, I've read it 100 times now. I always recommend it to anyone that wants to start out reading comic books, or just want something really gritty to read, like really to get their teeth into to read, because it is one of those stories. If you've got time for a comic book run of any substantial length, Road to Doomsday Clock and Doomsday Clock are some of the best. That's when they first integrate the Watchmen characters into DC and the main DC universe. And then the other one, which I mean you'll agree with because I know you know this story, is Flashpoint.
Yep.
Flashpoint from start to finish is genius. I mean, Flashpoint does lead into Road to Doomsday and Doomsday Clock. It all can be read as one massive epic, or you can break it down into those three stories and be quite happy. And then if you want to go absolutely crazy, and you want to see destruction on all levels and have wars like you only seen in Endgame. The Green Lantern run was absolutely epic. Because the short rundown is that the Lanterns have now found out there's multiple colours. They started to realise this, they had yellow and red, as well as green, but multiple ones have started to show up. Blue for hope, indigo, which is just fucking indigo, and then Black Ring appears, the Black Ring of Death. The guy can control the dead, which is fine when it's normal dead people, and then he starts resurrecting dead heroes.
Yeah.
And it was great. I mean, the big battles are awesome, but once again, some of DC, because of the way it has worked and the way that they keep hardlining certain stories from many eras ago, the writer of it, Jeff Johns, genius, was like, well, if this, like Death of Superman, is a canon story in this Superman's history, well, the original story had Superman Prime murdered, and in the Superman that we've had ever since, Superman from Earth 2. So while our Superman is out stopping these undead things quite easily, something flies past and beats the shit out of him. Who is it? A resurrected Superman Prime, the original guy from this universe, a zombie at full power. Yeah. I mean, like, this guy pulled out deep cuts from the old days. If someone had made this thing part of this story canon this universe, he took it in full. He went full blast with it.
Oh yeah, but it's isn't Blackest Night also where? Isn't Blackest Night also where Batman gets the white ring for like a split second, and then goes and takes it off and just goes no.
That is going toward Brightest Day, which is the sequel to it. But yes, they start to realise light is and the white. So it's not. He doesn't necessarily get a white ring. You have to combine all the rings that are available to get the white light ring, which becomes a Kyle Rayner speciality. But yeah, they do all get. At one point, I can't remember who it is that does imbue them with some sort of white light power that comes out as a ring. But yeah, it's just good. I mean, there's one great scene in it where Katana, like, this is another thing that Katana it does get mentioned. It is mentioned in the Suicide Squad. She's got a blade that holds souls. So all of a sudden, she became incredibly useful because she was one of the few things that could actually re-kill one of the undeads. Until she's given an offer. Your sword killed your son and your husband and your daughter, right? Release their souls, I'll give them back to you. Oh, what do you do now? Very good. Very good. I mean, Bruce Wayne turning up at the mansion because the alarms are going off, and finding his parents' graves have been dug out from the inside, and he knows what's sitting in the dining room waiting for him. It's great.
Oh yeah.
And then he gets there, and what's sitting there on the side?
His parents. Just
a Robin mask. Robin mask. there's a lot of people in his grave.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, once again, great story, great storyline. It's nearly, I mean, it's over 100 books, so in full, so it is a read. But yeah, give it a go. It's fun.
Oh yeah, but it's like for me, is it not Spider-Geddon? Because Spider-Geddon is the sequel. It's the Spider-Verse beginning one, where we get, because I love that, where it's
Ezekiel.
we get Ezekiel, it's when they beat them all at the Harbingers the first time, and then they and save the web of save the the web of destiny by killing the inheritor on the web of destiny, the one who'd become it. But it's that we get Peter Parker as he is now in the comics at that point, encountering superior Spider-Man, and it's the fact that in that bit Ock can't accept that eventually he'll give the body back to Peter. He can't accept that Peter wins because he can't.
Why would I do this?
Well, I do this because you finally realise what it means to be a goddamn hero, Doc. That's why. That's why you do this, because you finally realise what it means to be a hero.
Yeah. What's really funny about that story? I don't know if I've ever told you this one. And it's very, very funny because it does involve lawsuits in Britain and the crazy comic book industry that we had. So Lime Street Comics made a rip-off version of Spider-Man called The Amazing Leopard Man, in which a young boy gets scratched by, I do actually think it's a radioactive leopard, and gets the powers of a leopard. And there was legal issues, and they did it the way they did British shit back in the day, and was like, we don't give a fuck, carry on. It did get a rebranding many years later, redone. And it had a great story. A story that people were really fascinated as much as no one read these books, in which Leopard Man found out that he was actually from a long line of descended leopard people, that if they were actually given the spirit of the leopard from a magical leopard, they could transform and become great heroes. And he finds this out when a multi-dimensional version of himself comes to kill him and claim multiple reality versions of Leopard Man. And then 5 years later, Spider-Man does exactly the same story with the Totems.
Oh yeah, except it's not the other Spider-Man trying to kill Peter. It's the Inheritors.
Well, originally Ezekiel does come out as, I'm actually one of you. That's why you remember he's the old grey-haired guy that's climbing up the building with him. He's like, oh, I'm a Spider-Man from a different reality. That's how he starts making friends with him originally to hunt him down. And he tells him about the Totems.
Yeah, but it's Morlun, not Ezekiel, is what I'm on about. It's the Morlun ones with the Inheritors. The after Ezekiel's gone.
Yeah.
When he finds Silk, and then they come to the realization when him and Silk are together, that's what the Inheritors have been waiting for, to be able to begin the hunt. And it's where, I love the little panels where we get little panels of them hunting the other Spider-Man, though, and it's like, it still makes me sad that we get 1066 as Spider-Man gets killed. It's like, no! You killed one of the best little variants. Because I enjoyed Peter Parker from the 1060, from Marvel.
He was a funny one. Yeah, no, but I mean, that's one of the other great things about both sides of fan base here, whether you're Marvel or DC. We do have a great little collection of multiversal characters that we all quite like. The variations are always fun. Even some of the spin-off characters, I was a big fan of. I can't remember what it was. Was he Batwing? It wasn't Batwing. It was the African Batman during the Batman Incorporated series.
Have you seen
that? Awesome.
You remind me of one thing. Have you seen the trailer for Aztec Batman?
Yes.
It looks so good.
They are. These historical Batman things, I do like the idea of them. I don't know how much I'm going to enjoy them. I mean, I enjoyed Ninja.
I haven't seen the Batman Ninja one.
Batman Ninja's pretty good.
But I want to see the Aztec one. I've seen the trailer for it, and I'm like, I'm here for like conquistador, for like conquistador Harvey Dent and like witch doctor Joker.
Yeah, it is going to be a very, very interesting film, and like I say, it's nice to see
It's
that they're
nice.
not giving up on the animations.
To be fair, it's also DC and animations are brilliant. Like DC movies, the only one I've actually enjoyed in the last few years. Sorry, two, because I did actually will admit I enjoyed the Batman with Robert Pattinson.
Yeah,
And
but I
because
agree.
I love that film, and I think the reason of that film is the Riddler was fucking scary again. It was the actual Riddler that has been in the comics for years. It's always been like this character that people like because of the way he's portrayed in like the animated shows and the way a lot of times he's portrayed in like stuff. He's a joke character. No, Edward's not a joke. Edward's a fucking psychopath.
Well, yes, he is. Yes, he is. But even in the comic books, he was. So you don't. A lot of people don't. People don't know. No, he did become a bit of a bitch to all the other villains in DC for quite a long, long time. And weird enough, they do follow this story arc kind of in the Harley Quinn animated series, where all the heroes, he's not as wacky as the Joker. Like he can do riddles, great, but the Joker's the king of like crown prince of comedy. He's never going to beat that guy. He's never going to be Penguin. He's never going to be the guy that runs. So Penguin takes the piss out of him. You're not even a leader. You've got a gang of misfits at best. Fuck off. You're not even good enough to be me. Harvey Dent, big crime boss. I don't want nothing to do. Bang, like all of them. And then you get that whole period during Hush where the Riddler's. Where is the Riddler? What is the Riddler doing? Why are these villains being killed? Why are these heroes being killed? Oh shit!
Yeah, we underestimated the Riddler
Because the Riddler became a psycho, and he explains it. When I had enough of being a joke. I'm not the joke anymore. And it comes to the point where his riddles are not very as fair as they used to be. And it was basically like you're going to find someone dead. And so like I say, in the Harley Quinn comics, they kind of do it where they've met the Riddler. They caught him. He was being and they locked him up in a mouse wheel room, and it's like this is the best. We're not even going to beat you up because you're not even worth the beating up. And then one day he escapes, and it's like we're in a room for some of the best supervillains. How the hell did he escape? And he's like, "Oh, I've been getting out a long time because you underestimated me, and you left me on this machine. All I've been doing all day is doing cardio and thinking of ways of getting out and getting my revenge." And he's a beefed up motherfucker who can do shit, and that's kind of what he is in the comic books now. He's ruthless, and we fight like I say that. Not like but that's how the one we then got in
the Batman, and I loved it because it's like he's not a joke. It's like the Gotham version of him. I loved Edward in Gotham. He's like he was so well played in that series, and I'm like, this is how I want the Riddler to be. I don't want him to be the joke. Yeah, cool. He's quirky guy. He's a bit of a joke sometimes. Yeah, cool. But he's the Riddler. He's like he kind of excuse me. He kind of needs to be a bit of a crazy character. Why? Because have you? Because nobody that likes puzzles that much is not a psychopath. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And the other thing is as well, there was a whole time during DC where you started to lose a lot of the quirkier villains in replacement for the more sadistic ones. And the ones that were a little bit quirky and popular, it really did just shift over to the Flash family of characters, or Booster Gold. So
we're apparently getting a Booster Gold series, by the way.
Apparently at some point we will be, but we never know with Gunn at the minute until he fully announces it.
Yeah, but apparently we're going to get Booster. I saw Booster fucking Gold on apparent set of announcements, and I was like, it's Booster Gold, and all I'm thinking in my head is, oh shit. Because that's like the one character that the joke for the Justice League is, why don't we invite Booster? No!
No.
Nope.
Yeah,
Bruce
I
does
mean,
not
once
join
again,
us.
he's a character that is a complete nightmare for the most part, but has some great scenes. Like old school Booster Gold was big friends with the original Blue Beetle, for example, Ted Kord. They were the Flash and Green Lantern friendship wise. You know, they were cool. They had a couple of comic books together. But in one book where Blue Beetle's about to be killed, Ted Kord, as an older man, he's an older dude at this point, and Booster Gold turns up and he looked rough, and he's like, "Get your costume, you need your costume," and then disappears. And he comes back through again, and he's looking even more fucked up. He's like, "I wish I could be here. I'm doing everything I can. I am destroying reality timelines just for this conversation because everything is telling me I can't be here. But I wish I could be here for what's happening because you were my best friend, and I'm never going to see you again. And if I'm not going to see you again, I need to tell you one thing, and that is, you've gotten fat and that suit don't fit." And then disappears again. And then literally the next scene is Ted Kord's door being smashed in, and these guys, like him fighting the best he can, but he gets brutalized. And then the next scene is, next time you see Booster Gold, he's just in bits because he can go back now, but it'll be after. He doesn't want to go back after. There's a bit where he just doesn't go back in time anymore because he can't see his friend. And so he's a great. He does have it's a great emotional set to him as well that he's just missed a lot of the time.
Yeah. I just love the fact that the running joke in Justice League was when they were after new members, was whenever anyone asked, "What about Booster Gold?" It's no! It's just unanimously no.
Yeah. I mean that should always be the answer for him to be on a team, in all fairness. He is a liability.
He's a liability. I don't remember what his powers are.
He has none. So he is from the future, in which superheroes now are incredibly common because you can either buy the suit or just buy the powers and have them implanted into you. So no one is special. But he managed to get a hold of a league ring, which are time travelers. They are kind of the Avengers, the Justice League of the future. So he started bouncing back, and he went back in time to the golden age of heroes, so he could become a great hero amongst them using the technologies that he's got from the future. So his sidekick Skeets, which is a very advanced tiny computer, has loads of different gadgets in it. But he also had his suit, and I think a few genetic upgrades allow him to be a bit stronger, a bit faster, a bit more durable. But naturally or without the suit, he doesn't really have much. He's just a time traveler. Yeah. But still, like I say, a quirky character.
Oh, yeah. Which is why everyone goes, nope, we're not inviting him. Why? Because he's just a dude from the future cosplaying a hero.
Then again, if anyone
We have
can
another
do
bot in the
Booster
stream,
Gold,
apparently. But
if anyone could do Booster Gold in live action, it's James Gunn. And the reason I say that is because he made Peacemaker popular.
I know,
Peacemaker
right?
was never. People kind of liked him.
I know, he made a
Don't get me
character
wrong.
that is invisible popular.
An actor that's invisible.
Yeah. You made a character with an actor that's invisible popular. I mean, like played by an actor who's invisible and possible. Cool. And I'm like, damn, how did he do this?
Yeah, he's like I remember my friend Mike, but it was funny that watching a DC film and Peacemaker's in it, and he sort of looks at me and went, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, Peacemaker," and I was like, "He's got." And recently as well, we were talking about something, and I mentioned Peacemaker, and he completely blocked it out of his head. He got Peacemaker. I was like, "Yeah, it's played by John Cena. He's been in a film. He's had his own series. He's about to do second season." People are watching this. I was like, "Yeah." For some reason, DC have given up on DC characters and they've gone straight to Atlas and Charlton comic book characters again. He's like, okay. Tell me when. Tell me when. Who was it? He said, I think it was Andy and Pandy, or Jack and Jill. basically they were the precursors to Joker and Harley Quinn. They were two mimes that they had invisible weapons, basically, and they would mime shooting you, and all of a sudden your head would blow off. Yeah, they were all Charlton comic characters that they brought in. Lots of actually good DC characters are from that era that people don't really realise. Characters like Max Mercury, and this is another thing. I don't think we've had this conversation about characters being transferred over. So back in the day, what was the thing was other comic book companies would make their comics, and then if need be, you wanted to make something similar, or you just wanted that character, you would, as a company, buy the company. And Charlton and Atlas were two companies that did get absorbed into by DC. But some characters that they got because of this was Captain Marvel / Shazam. Was not DC created, was Atlas, I believe. Rorschach, or Question at least. Rorschach is a take on the Question. I believe that was Charlton. Who are the other big hitters? There's a couple of really big hitters. Oh yeah, so big one, Max Mercury. One of his other names, which is a play on Mercury, was Quicksilver. And when DC bought the comic book run, they went straight with the Max Mercury version of the character and dropped the copyright and ownership of Quicksilver. Guess what Marvel did a week later?
Create a character
They
called
got
Quicksilver.
They're called Quick. They basically just completely transferred the thing over. Only thing they didn't use was the name. Instead of being Max Mercury, he was now Peter Maximoff. And he was Quicksilver, the fastest mutant in all of mutant in Marvel.
I have a question for you. So, considering the fact that we technically may be the reason that both Wanda and Pietro are technically at this point in the comics no longer Magneto and Magneto's children, right, was probably done so they could keep using them in the MCU, keep them and bring them over to the MCU, so they didn't have to, pay Fox anything with for having those mutants, because they couldn't use mutants in the MCU at the time. Do you think, and that change was then applied to the comic retro? A lot of people get mad that a lot of the stuff that happens in the films are in a retroactive applied to the comics, but I'm like, it's because we're in a new Marvel universe. We've had another Secret Wars, another Crisis where the universe collapsed. Like, that's what Marvel does. Marvel's whole, like, as we say, DC has Crisis on Infinite Earths and Flashpoints. Those are the points where DC's universe resets. The Flash does something, or something happens that causes a crisis.
Crisis other things
yeah. Where Marvel's opposite is usually the Beyonder's the one that gets involved and messes with reality, because that's what he does. He decides to create Battleworld because that's what happens most of the time. It's the Beyonder behind it. The last time we had it, it was Doom stealing the Beyonder's power and creating Battleworld, which is what I think the version we're getting based on the title of the next Avengers movie. And I think you can agree with me on why I think that, because the next Avengers movie's title being Doomsday, which makes me think we're getting Battleworld with God Emperor Doom, which is kind of a cool idea. Which means that, even though Pedro Pascal's going to be in the movie and going to be in the film, he's not in the timeline from when it becomes Battleworld. He's not going to be the kid's father. Because what does Doom fucking do? He hates him.
So you've not heard? I guess you've not heard the kind of leak / release then.
What?
So it turns out that only the end of this film of Doomsday is going to be pretty much in the multiverse. Nearly a big chunk of it is going to be them carrying on with some event that's happening in their universe, and then they have to escape. So basically what we thought this film the original Fantastic Four film would end with, is what we're actually going to get in the next one. So chances are, like I say, at the moment, and this is leaks
Timepiece.
and whatever, but we can't take it. You have to take it with a pinch of salt. It's looking like at the end of the film, so that last act when some shit's going down, that's when you're going to start seeing like all these other heroes come into play. And one of the speculations is what these guys are going to see. What's going to happen is it's not that they're going to be in that reality just yet. They're going to be moving over to it, but they see something like almost like a latent image of something that happened there, and you're going to see them seeing, or in particular Doctor Doom seeing the battle at the end of Endgame. Tony Stark being killed, him seeing his face on someone else being killed, and that big list of chairs we saw with all those names of people on it.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be people. They're just going to be the scenes we see at the end during that Endgame fight, in some manner, or clips of them looking through multiple realities to find the one that may best suit them. So yeah, it's good. I mean, like I say, pinch of salt.
No, I don't. I think
Anything
because the film is the film is gonna mostly take place over. I think in the normal thing, it is gonna be following on from what happened. What Clea said to Strange in the end. You know, the end of Doctor Strange. Of you caused an incursion. Meaning, I have a feeling that the MCU's universe is about to have another Earth appear with it, and it's we die or they die. We have that is the choice. And it'll be that,
I mean,
bit from the comics where it's we have to destroy the other Earth to save our own.
yeah, I mean, I think that I mean, honestly, I think that's what the big issue's going to end up being for Doom. Like they're going to be involved in the incursion, and like they've got, like I say, they know that they're fucked, so they're just going to find a new place to skip to. Because I don't think the incursion that they're going to have is going to be without. I think it's going to be with an alternate.
Oh yeah, but
when they show it.
I have a feeling that it's going to be the movie's like main plot will be the incursions happening, and the end of it will be like the MCU's universe incurring with another. Because remember, the final incursion in the original comics run of Infinity, the storyline that leads up to Secret Wars. Because a lot of people forget is there's Infinity Wars, then there's Infinity.
Yeah,
Infinity is the storyline that leads up to the Secret Wars and the reset of the current Marvel Universe to the current one, which is why Miles Morales is now part of the 616 universe alongside Spider-Gwen and other things. They don't have their own reality anymore in that because their reality is gone.
They're stuck in the art.
Yeah, but the final universe that ends up colliding with 616 is the Ultimate Universe.
Ultimate Universe, yeah.
Which would make sense as being the finale bit of it. If the finale bit is, the two universes colliding in the last two, would be 638, the one we've just seen from the Fantastic Four movie, and the one from the MCU itself colliding with each other, being and then it's the whiteout that happens.
But we kind of already know that can't happen or isn't what happens because in Thunderbolts, which timeline wise would be set at least 5 to 6 years after the Fantastic Film we've just watched, because there is a big jump into that film timeline wise. That we see them flying into that universe, so or appearing in that universe, and they're not mentioning crises. They're not mentioning another Earth has just appeared.
Oh no!
So it does look more like they've escaped. That's their version of the arc.
Or it could be since they now know the existence of multiverses. Remember, because even in the film they mention it. It could be just a Reed doing Reed's thing of let's explore the multiverse and accidentally causing the incursion at the end, like that in the Thunderbolts bit. If you get what I mean, that could be. Reed causing it because remember the whole thing in like Doctor Strange was the literal thing that Mordo and everyone was telling him is that you can't be here. You will cause an incursion because you're not in your universe.
Well, yes, yeah. I mean, I got a weird feeling that. So, I think these incursions are all going to be caused by Doom, and I think the reason he's going to cause them is because of the events of the film, in which a number of things happened. One, it was clearly mentioned that he was a being from beyond this universe, and the reason he is what he is because of being an anomaly, for want of a better term.
Yeah.
And Doom has turned up to meet Franklin Richards at that time in his life when he would be old enough to have a conversation, but young enough to be able to manipulate in a way that, oh, this would be a good thing to do. Or, give me your power. Can you transfer your power to me? Because I reckon, this is my theory, Doom wants to cause the incursions to destroy the universes, thus another Big Bang, and find a way to be that anomaly at the end. To have all that power, to be the Galactus of the next remake.
Which that would be the Doom. That would be Doom.
Yeah, and to be fair, that then it kind of does fit into the idea of they stay on their 1960s version of Earth. Doom starts creating anomalies, bringing Earths to him, and finding ways, using the Fantastic Four to stop them. And then it goes wrong, and he has to leave. And that's how they get to the next universe. But with that in mind...
Oh, yeah, it's one of the things is we've no idea what the plot of the next film is going to be.
No. But yeah, I think we've discussed quite a lot this evening. We managed to make our time up.
Oh, yeah. But I will say, in true edition fashion of whatever, we don't know what's going to happen in Doomsday at this point, because our original expectation, to be fair, with Fantastic Four has been completely thrown out the window. As we said, with spoilers in this part, has been completely thrown out of the window. It is. We thought that what we thought was going to happen didn't happen. The ending was awesome. I loved that fight. I also love the fact that we got to see Sue use her powers like fully for a change.
Yep.
Like, that is one of those things that actually genuinely, I will admit, I was genuinely happy with, because, Sue Storm should honestly be able to use her powers more.
Yeah, so we're going to have another film. I'm sure they're going to see all these things and work towards it. Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to what's coming next. I'm looking forward to the new Spider-Man film.
I'm excited for Brand New Day, because Brand New Day is going to be brilliant. Because let's be honest, it is legitimately Brand New Day. The main thing that I am absolutely excited for, and I think you agree with me, we've said it before, is the costume looks like the comics costume, but it also looks like a mix of Andrew's and Toby's costume.
Yeah,
and it's like they took the best bits of the two previous Spider-Man costumes and gone, so we're going to make him bright red and bright blue, because we're going to go for that 90s comic aesthetic, because we understand now that people want the damn comics costume. We finally understand that what you've been yelling at us for ages. We're sorry, we should have listened.
Let's see what we get. I mean, it looks good so far, and all the stuff coming out of Scotland at the moment looks fantastic. So I am excited for that, but that's a while off. My next big film, to be honest, I'm looking forward to is Odyssey, which is a Tom Holland film.
And John Berthnell.
I do like my Greek mythology, so that's going to be a fun one. But on that note, I think we should wrap up, I think.
On that note, I will say goodbye, as usual. We will be back in 2 weeks as normal. The schedule on the channel does, for some reason, does say that we do this every Thursday. We don't. We do it every other Thursday. That way, Jax can have a rest from dealing with me at least one day in a week.
Yeah. I mean, after being slaughtered on the Tuesday, and then
you didn't die on Tuesday.
On the Wednesday. I didn't die. No, you're right. I didn't keep anyone alive, but I didn't die.
That was that.
I felt so sorry though for our new player, because my character was his character's rival, and I was being really nice to him last week, unlike I normally do to new players. And then this week, I had to, for game rules, be an arsehole.
To be fair, that alien one shot was funny. The sheer fact that it's like, yeah, you slowly watch the pipe start to move, and it just Loki's reaction of, wait, what? What do you mean the pipe's moving?
Why is the time moving?
To the point of where that thing wakes up and they're like, they panic. They panic, and not only do they panic, they freeze as this big 8-foot tall xenomorph grabs hold of them and just head bites them through their spacesuit.
Oh, it was.
It's just
So I'm dead now. Yeah.
Yep, you're dead now. Oh God. It's like, yeah. So this is what happens. It's like it was literally out of it, like a scene out of a film, though. If you think about it,
It was very good. I mean, these little one shots are great. These cinematics are really fun.
that's why I like doing those cinematic scenarios, because it's a one shot. It's like a simple plot. You all have like a simple goal. Your goal is like, here's your 3 goals. Your character, it gives you like a little way of playing your character that I've given you. Your literal goal is just to it's a film. Do what you think a character would do in a movie. That's the goal. Do what you think your character would do. If you're a movie character, not you, you don't have metagame knowledge. You are this person in this film. You're doing this. This is only the first edition, by the way. I haven't got the second edition yet. The stress mechanics of the second edition are a little toned down in some areas, like they're a little bit more not simplified but easier to understand. But apparently, like, the way that shit goes bad has been made a hell of a lot worse.
Well, I can imagine.
So it's like, crap. But the fact that xenomorph immediately grabs one of you, like, you're all stood there in shock at this thing just unfurling from a fucking pipe in the ceiling, and it just, one of you just, like, tries to block and just freezes, going, and then just gets immediately murdered, and it's like, everyone else is like, fucking run. Just run.
Right. Well, I am going to run because the wife wants to talk to me.
Anyway,
so I will see you soon.
We'll see you all in 2 weeks' time, as usual. We are now streaming this on Twitch and on YouTube simultaneously. The VOD is only on YouTube, or it should be. Twitch should not save the VOD for this. So if you want to watch these podcasts after we've done them, they'll be on YouTube, not on Twitch. The links are down below.